What's up, everyone? It's Tate. I just wanted to do a really quick, like 20-minute gameplay video doing one game of Palkia VSTAR up against Arceus. This is just a ladder match I recorded, but it turned out to be a really good game with some, kind of cool, like, I guess, instructive moments in there. So I figured I'd put it up and go through it. This is just the list real quick at the start of the video because I'm playing that Cross Switcher Palkia list, so a lot of people have been asking me like, why do you like the cross switchers? And I think this game illustrates it pretty well. It lets me be really aggressive early game and just play like different supporters and keep drawing through my deck and thinning my deck, right? And playing stuff that isn't boss and still having that really strong gust effect. And then we also get a great use out of Radiant Greninja in the start of this game, and even the Roxanne. Like, Roxanne comes up being pretty clutch in this game, so this is just a game that makes good use of a lot of the techs that are in my specific list. I guess, well, obviously, Radiant Greninja is in everyone's list, but, just the cross switchers end up being pretty clutch in this game. So we get into it. Open Manaphy, which is like, whatever. It's a fine starter against Arceus. It's not the end of the world. The difficult part with Palkia is the first couple turns. There's so many different routes you can take. You got to figure out, especially because I didn't even open any Palkia or Sobble here. Fortunately, I have double Quick Ball, but I have to make that choice of what to discard to go get those. I pretty obviously need to get one Palkia, one Sobble in order to really do anything next turn. So I think I just bucket and quick ball 2 energy. I quick balled the energy from hand first, but I'm going to bucket and quick ball one of those energy as well. I'm just going through and checking prizes. So the important things to prize check with this deck are anything that's a one of, like Roxanne, Raihan, Starmie, Greninja, Crobat. And then I also want to check the 2 buckets, right? That's really important information because almost every game you're going to have to play a bucket early to set up. And so if you prize the second bucket, which fortunately I have in deck, that can bite you later, right? You go to Drizzile, you can't convert a Drizzile into an energy anymore. That's super important to be aware of. I think Lee and I talked in the last video we did on the channel about like playing Ice Rider with 2 versus 3 bucket, and we really liked the 3. It's just like sometimes in these Melony decks, like, Palkia, you want to play a 65 card deck if you could, so you have to make some concessions, a little bit of like consistency concessions to fit techs, especially in this format where, there's just all these like Blissey and Reggie and stuff that you want to beat. But anyway, so let's look at this board state, right? So my opponent, I immediately saw them flip over Sobble at the start of the game, and that indicated to me, like, this is probably going to be a turn 2 Greninja game, so I'm going to play a little aggressive, and just try to snipe 2 Sobbles, especially if they don't keep calling or something, which they ended up valuing the attachment to Arceus a little bit more. So yeah, I just decided to try to find all the cards to pull that off, and I have Incense for Drizzile for Quick Ball here, and harder treating the Manaphy obviously puts energy into discard for me, so I just decided to go for this aggressive Greninja snipe, and anytime you do a play like this, you just have to be sure that you're okay next turn, right? And so the reason I was comfortable committing to this play is because I have that Incense in hand. So I can Incense for Shady Dealings Inteleon next turn. If I didn't have that, I would probably have to pick a safer play of just attacking with Palkia this turn because, sure, you can get 2 prizes on the Sobble, that's great, but if you're also just dead drawing after that, and they still can use Starburst next turn potentially, right? So that's not a good position that you want to put yourself in. But it was comfortable for me to make this aggro play because I have that Incense. So that's a really great start. You figure, okay, the Arceus can come up and probably get rid of my Greninja now, but I'm going to have a bunch of energy in discard already. I don't really need to use concealed cards much more for that purpose. I shouldn't need to use like Moonlight Shuriken much in this game. I can just kind of cross switcher up a 2 prizer at some point and then just get through this Arceus. Like, getting through this Arceus is just going to be fun, so. See what my opponent decides to do here. I think they go double turbo and boss the Palkia just to start winning the 2-shot war, which is fine by them. This Arceus versus Palkia matchup really can just turn into a 2-shot war if they're limiting their fight. This was also a turn where I thought about, because you can Starmie here because they have 5 energy in play. If I could get Choice Belt Starmie, I could just pop that Arceus instantly, then that would be huge. But I unfortunately don't have the cards to do it here, because I don't have a way to like move the Palkia, and still attach to a Starmie in the same turn. So what I can pull off this turn is the Cross Switcher play. It just requires a little bit of good sequencing and a little bit of luck, although if you sequence well enough, you have you obviously get the higher odds to hit the combo. So I'm going to grab Shady Inteleons, what I talked about last turn. Like, I knew I could Incense for Shady this turn. And it's just a matter of figuring out what cards you have the highest odds of drawing if you grab a draw supporter here, so you know like what the one other card you should grab with Shady is. And so what I end up doing here is I'm going to Inteleon. I think I eye up Melony for quite some time, and then I realized the correct play is to get Choice Belt and Research. Obviously, I needed the Choice Belt, and then just playing Research is the best play here because... I grab Choice Belt Research because what I'm thinking here is I have like 4 water energy plus a bucket still left in deck. Unfortunately, I prized Crobat, so this play is a little bit riskier because I did prize the bat. Like, I don't get that extra dig. I have to hit energy off of Research, but I still feel like there's pretty decent odds to hit 1 energy or bucket. And I only play 2 Choice Belt in my deck, and I don't have any other way to search for it this turn. It has to be with this Inteleon. So I definitely grab the thing that I only play 2 of, and then I just hope I can Research into an energy. Because I have everything else I need in hand. Actually, I need 1 more basic, too. So, with the Crobat prize, this was a little bit of a risky play, but it's definitely, like, it paid off big time, right? With the Cross Switchers, I can just Cross Switcher up this Peak Rider. And Echo Horn, and bench the Eiscue, which is like, my bench is kind of full of bad Pokemon right now, but as long as I hit a basic and an energy here, and I did, so that's pretty good. In fact, I think what I really drew the stones off of this because I can actually scoop up the Eiscue and Quick Ball for a Sobble, and that's actually huge. Just get the Eiscue out of there, thin the Quick Ball out of the deck, even thin the Scoop out of the deck, although the Scoop is at least a live card, but just get another Sobble in play there, right? Prevent that bench from being as bad as it was. So the whole reason I went for this whole aggro Cross Switcher play rather than the safer just like hit him back with Palkia is that feels like a losing strategy into Arceus because they went for that boss play and got the first hit. I don't want to try to play a 2-shot war against Arceus because they've done well with limiting their bench. And they play Sharon's Care in their deck, and they did get a Sobble down. So I really just didn't want this game to turn into a 2-shot Arceus versus Palkia war where they got the first hit in, because I would probably end up losing that, barring some shenanigans. So now I have a 4-0 lead, and like sure this Palkia is dying at the end of the turn, but they still have to take 4 prizes before I have to take 2. And so that felt like a really good like risk-reward kind of payoff there, where sure I get Rock Sand here, but I have so much time to just get these last 2 prizes. I feel really comfortable, even if I can basically brick off Rock Sand for a turn or 2. And obviously this hand's not that great, but I think I do top deck Scoop Up Net, so I get a live top deck to kind of get out of it. But now we enter sort of an interesting part of the game, right, where the game gets a little bit sketchy. And because of the fact that I already used both my buckets, so I can't, convert the wild to water energy anymore, and also my Crobat is still in my last 2 prizes. So I just have to be really careful with resources for the rest of this game. So I think the main thing that occurs to me at this point is like, Arceus probably plays Palpad. I could get Palpad Rock Sand again next turn, right? So I want to keep thinning out my deck here. I think what I decided to do is just Melony onto the Palkia because I have the Shady Inteleon in hand now. And I kind of want to keep, I definitely want to keep that to do stuff next turn and keep the Cross Switcher as well. Yeah, so I decided to just Melony onto this Palkia and hope I get like another Sobble down off of that or something. I'd rather just like not discard these 2 pieces that are in hand. So that's why I decided not to research this. Still accomplishing basically the same thing I wanted to do, right? Which is attach to the Palkia. I just get fewer cards, but I get to keep more resources. And then I just hold this Level Ball because that turns into a Drizzile next turn, right? So can potentially even like get Raihan if they knock out the Manaphy. Both my Melony are in discard at this point, but I'm just pushing up the Manaphy here, just saying, yeah, go kill my Manaphy. And actually, this another reason that's good. It could turn on the Raihan, but I think even more importantly in this game, it turns on my own Roxanne. So, you know, if they just KO Manaphy, they're going to 3 prizes. I can Roxanne, and then they still need to get through a Palkia and then have a boss, basically. So, I was pretty comfortable at this point, like, oh, I can just Roxanne them, and, you know, hopefully I raw draw one of my last couple of energies. Just keep thinning the deck out. But I do actually get Palpad Roxanne here. Like, I was correct in predicting that play. That is actually what happened. Which, you know, is a little worrying, but I think a smart play from them, realizing what I was trying to do. Just kind of slow roll, purposefully give up the Manaphy, and just build a hand for next turn. And they're like, no, I don't want to let you keep that 5-card hand. I know you're building something in there. So I think that was smart by them. Just takes them a second, but yeah, eventually they do just attach to the Moltres and Roxanne here. And then, you know, at that point, it's like, okay, I push up Palkia, Roxanne, and you feel like you're back in the driver's seat again. Also, the Moltres, right? The great thing about this is that, you know, if I avoid ever going to 1 prize, the Moltres can't ever damage Palkia, or sorry, can't ever knock out Palkia, even with Choice Belt. And another thing that's cool that can happen is if they ever want to hard retreat and go into the Moltres and attach to the Moltres, they're probably getting rid of that double turbo. And so if I Roxanne them, because they've Starbirth, they don't have a way to search for the double turbo. So that's another, like, getting a Roxanne to stick here would have been really nice. But I do get Roxanne on their end there, but then I just draw research, so that's not too bad. And in fact, have the chance to just win the game here on this turn, and I don't get it, right? But if I just hit 2 bench Pokemon plus Choice Belt, you know, I would have game there, but... And an energy, sorry, is the other thing I needed. So that's why, like, the 2 bucket is a little risky, right? Because you see how I had to use the 2 bucket earlier in the game, and now it's like, well, crap, I can't Drizzile for bucket. I have to stall for another turn. I can't win the game this turn. But this is where that aggro start is such a nice cushion, because again, they still have to get through 3 more prizes in the time I have to just take 2. And I'm rapidly approaching 1-shot range on that Arceus. So just figuring out the deck thinning here. It's like, okay, we can afford to play Level Ball at this point. Just fill the bench with Sobbles. That's fine, I think, to make that trade. And then basically what I'm saying here is, like, next turn I can just Roxanne. And they, like, if they want to put up the Moltres here, which they kind of need to, because again, next turn I could win with Energy Choice Belt. They kind of need to use the Moltres here, which means they're sacrificing that double turbo. And then when I Roxanne them, they don't have a way, they have to just raw draw the double turbo to attack with Arceus that turn. So I still felt pretty comfortable, even though I've whiffed stuff for a couple of turns here. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the line of play that they're forced into here. Is like just attack with Moltres. We'll see how that goes. They kind of just go through the motions here. Another thing to make note of now is that my 3rd Cross Switcher did get discarded because I researched. So if they retreat into the Moltres, I can't win the game anymore by Cross Switchering the Arceus. I'm going to have to KO the Moltres and then probably... Well, and then KO the Arceus the turn after that. But I can't just immediately win with hitting double Cross Switcher this turn. So I just, you know, you gotta be careful about that with resources. Like, losing a resource like that can change your game plan. But again, Roxanne kill Moltres is pretty good here. I was initially kind of scared. Like, I was scared I made a minor misplay by benching the Palkia, but I don't think it matters because, again, if I Roxanne them here, they need to literally raw draw boss double turbo, because there isn't any combination of cards in Arc Inteleon unless they're playing a Crobat or something weird that can get them... Like, if they play boss, they're not playing another supporter to dig for the double turbo. So I was pretty confident my Roxanne was sticking here. And I just needed to draw energy for the Palkia. It's like the most important thing to draw here. So I push that up. I think I just bench the Starmie here. The Starmie's not really good at this point of the game, but I just don't want it in the deck, right? I just like get out. I don't want to redraw that off the Roxanne. 13 card deck. I think there's 2 energy in it at this point, maybe 3. But all the rest of that stuff is stuff I'm comfortable drawing. Oh, we got Training Court. That was the other card that's in the deck. So I think this is also something people like don't really play, that I might be one of the only people playing, is the Training Court. Temple of Sinnoh is good if you also play Quick Shooting, so you can do the Temple Quick Shooting shenanigans in the Mew matchup, but I don't currently play a Quick Shooting. Like, I try to just kind of Roxanne path the Mew matchup. I'm not saying that's like a flawless strategy, and probably the 61st card for me right now is Second Path. You kind of want to pass the Mew early anyway, but I just don't play the Temple of Sinnoh right now because I don't play the Quick Shooting, and then it's a little bit anti-synergistic with Starmie because it's reducing Starmie's damage by 50 if they ever have a double turbo out in the Arceus matchup. So, Roxanne Kill Moltres feels really strong there, right? Like I said, they literally would just need to raw draw, double turbo and boss, and they didn't have it. Now, one thing that's funny is because I played Echoing Horn earlier in the game, I actually can't win the game right away this turn because I remember I have 3 Cross Switcher in discard, and I use Echo Horn, so I can only hit 270 or 250, I guess, onto this Arceus. But again, they literally need to have boss double turbo raw in hand next turn, so I still felt comfortable like feeling like I had a turn here. I think I even just play some more cards to thin in case they like hit me with a Marnie or something. I think I just like put Path into play. But it feels like unless they just have that raw 2-card combo, there's really nothing I can do to lose the game at this point. And yeah, that's basically how the game goes. I mean, we play it out here, but they end up not having anything they can do next turn because they can't do anything here. But that's why I like the Cross Switcher build, right? It was really good in that game. We got to like play that super aggro turn 3 gust up the Arceus V and just take the 2 prizes and avoid turning the game into a 2-shot war. And then our own Roxanne was super clutch in this game as well, so that was really great. I think I made kind of risky plays, like going for that whole Cross Switcher thing when the Crobat was prized, but I think it was worth the risk. And if you sequence that stuff well, you're going to get rewarded for it more often than not, especially if you're playing a consistent deck, right? Like Palkia, I mean, you're playing 4 of all your consistency cards, at least I hope you are. But that's it, just like a really short game. But still some good stuff in there, and I just wanted to get some gameplay stuff on the channel. But like when I upload gameplay stuff, I want it to actually be helpful and stuff that players can take stuff away from, rather than just me like recording 2 hours of me playing ladder and all the games suck. So I'm just gonna selectively pick ones to upload that I think are good complex matches that I can highlight. But if I get some more good tournament games or even ladder games that I record with Palkia or with any other new Astral decks, I'll totally put them up and talk through them. But that's all I got for this video, so stay tuned. I'll probably have some more stuff like this in the future.